Check, check. Hello, hello, everyone in the chat. Can everybody hear me? Let me know, please. Say yes. Check, check, 1, 2. Just want to know if everybody can hear me. Yes, yes, from Dyson Fam. All right. All right, cool. Glad you guys can hear me. When Sam comes in, Sam is going to chit chat as well, and just let me know if you can hear him as well. You should be able to. Hopefully, there's no issues. So, all right, so we're going to be talking about proposal 11002, which, sorry, let me apologize now. I've been sick all day, and I'm trying to drink some tea to quell this cough. So I apologize ahead of time for all the coughing. But anyway, this is the Holacracy proposal that is on Terra Station currently. It's been up for 24 hours, maybe a little more than 24 hours or so. Currently, it's not passing, but we're going to go through it. I've got some questions about it. Can't say that I really totally understand it. So I'm hoping that, sorry, Sam is going to be able to clarify some things for us. And I'm hoping that you guys will have some questions and comments as well, as I will try to get to along the way. So just go ahead and stand by. I'm going to shut this down for a second so I can drink some more tea. And as soon as Sam gets in here, we'll get going. All right. Thanks a lot. All right, I've sent Sam the link through Twitter DM, and I do see that he has seen it. He's not in here yet. I don't, we really didn't even talk about, I think I cut myself shaving. We didn't talk about the fact that I was going to be doing it on Zoom. This was very impromptu, very spontaneous, the way I always do. So, I mean, I don't, but he's not saying anything to me about having any technical difficulties or anything. Maybe he's just in the middle of doing something. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of get started with this. And when he jumps in, he jumps in. Let me know in the chat. Are you guys familiar with this proposal, this Holacracy proposal on Terra Station? It was originally on Agora. Like a whole other iteration of it was on Agora a while ago. And, I don't know what issues that they were having with it on Agora, but it was taken off of Agora. So here's Sam now. All right, so me and Sam can talk about it as soon as he connects his audio. Let me give him a second. What's up, brother? Can you hear me? I have a feeling he can hear me, but I can't hear him. Hold on, give me a second. Give me a second, Sam. Might be me on this end. Yeah, I think I've got a problem. Oh,
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Excellent.
Can you guys in the chat hear Sam? Let me know. Sam, there's like a 15-second delay or something like that between what we're saying in the chat. So I've got to wait about 10, 15 seconds for these guys to let me know that they can hear you.
No worries. Fantastic.
All right. 2 thumbs up, Ryan. Does that mean yes, you can hear him? Hold on. Maybe it's longer than 15 seconds. I can hear Sam. Okay. All right. Beautiful. Everybody can hear you. Everybody can hear me. All right. That's fine. Listen, I have no problem with it at all. We're just gonna do audio for you.
Okay, I don't mind.
I'm
I'm
asking.
actually in. Well, I mean, if you want to see me, I can show you, but I'm sitting in my office, so let me see.
I
Just,
have found
just to let everyone know, I am a real person, but I'm in my office, so I'm just going to turn the video off and talk to you guys if that's okay.
Well, yeah, whatever you want to do, that's fine. You look nothing like what I thought you were going to look like.
Well, I mean, my photo is going to be on the Unity development team's website and stuff, so I'm going to be doxed to the community. So either way, this was a good opportunity for people to see me and see that I'm a genuine person.
Yeah, no, I think everybody knows you're a person.
With social media, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, you're right. It's easier for me, and I find with the people that are watching, there's just a better connection with the chat when you're actually chatting face to face. But I absolutely understand that there are situations and circumstances sometimes where people aren't really able to have their camera on. And so, however you want to do it, however you're comfortable, that's fine. I also want to thank you for the tea suggestion because it's helping a lot.
Thank you. Fantastic. I'll be honest with you. Next time, if we schedule it, I'll pick a better location where we can actually have a conversation right now. But like I said, I'm just in the office. I'm doing some work for the guys in the background as well. So I don't want to be like looking away and looking at people. And then, in that sense, you have my full attention at the moment, but I am looking at screens and stuff as well.
Have you ever seen any of the interviews I've done with Zaradar?
No.
He gets up and walks around the whole time. All we see is him walking by every once in a while. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, Duncan has this tendency of putting his pinky finger right on the microphone as he's talking as well. Right? So you just hear his voice going and gone. So you have to keep telling him, Duncan, pinky.
All right, no worries. In a minute, I'm going to share my screen, Sam, because I want to bring up the proposal and I want to bring up some things. I want you to just let me know that you can see it. But what I was, right before you jumped in, what I was talking about is originally when this was on Agora, it was kind of a different, a different version of this, yeah? And then for some reason it was taken down off of Agora?
Yeah, I mean, the first version was taken off Agora multiple times. It was flagged as advertising and spam by people, and we had to repost it. But this is the third version of it, realistically, because it's been about a month that this proposal came to us, to our mind. And like I said, there's three of us. There's Lundgren, Army, and Jerry, who we wrote this together. And then we put out the first draft, took about 2 weeks of feedback, went back to the second draft, and then took some more feedback, added some things like the payment system through like a third-party BitGrid, and also the conclusion part where we discuss how the community can see whether the structure actually brings a net positive or a net negative overall over a 12-month period, etc., which was an accountability that some community members wanted to add it in there. So we've taken feedback, we've added to it, and this is the third one that was up on Agora. Thankfully, this one remained up there. So
I read that first one, and I also just before I guess it got flagged, and everybody's always got something to say about something, so it is what it is. But if I remember correctly, when I read it, it was structured very much like almost every other proposal that I had seen on Agora. I saw nothing about it. This is me personally, right? My opinion, but I saw nothing about it at all that made me think that it might be some sort of advertisement or something that should have gotten flagged. Was that kind of just a case of a bunch of haters kind of, trying to cause trouble?
It feels like it, and I'll be honest with you, I sent multiple emails to Agora team moderators, and all it did was to actually get my account deleted and my IP address blocked. It didn't resolve any of the issues, and multiple other people said the same, that if you read this, there's no advertising, it's a structured proposal. But you know, onwards and upwards, as they say. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
we live another day and fight another day. So
I agree with you. A couple of the guys in the chat are saying hello, Sam. Richard says hello, Sam. I can hear Sam. Dyson Pham says it's more a decentralized structure proposal, not holacracy. Holacracy name was used because it's the closest system to what this structure could be called. Dyson, we'll get into all that. At this point, I haven't even really gone through this whole new proposal, and we're going to do that with Sam. Sam, I don't know how much time you have, so I tend to have a million questions, but if at any point you got to just break off and go, that's fine. We didn't plan this at all. Sam was kind enough to come on very spontaneously. I texted him. He said hi. I said, "Hey, I'm going live. You want to come on?" He said, "Yeah," and we did it pretty much.
but yeah, I've got time for you, sir. Just ask me whatever you like, and hopefully I can answer it. I mean, like I said, Jerry is a lot more involved with the holacracy side of things. He's actually looking at becoming trained holacracy coach himself, because he believes in the management system as a positive for most corporations.
Excuse me, guys. Yeah, that was actually one of the questions that were definitely going to come up about this coaching. But before we get there, I was listening in on the initial Twitter space that you had with the guy, and excuse me, I don't remember his name. The guy who
Brian, the author.
Yeah, want to say it again?
He's Brian Robertson. He's the author of the book. Yeah,
Brian. Okay,
we're trying to actually have him on another space so that if there's any more questions, etc., people can come and ask him directly. Or Jerry's trying to organize it at the moment.
Yeah, that would be great. When I was when I was listening to that one, after that was all over, you and I had some conversation on Twitter, even prior to that, and then after that. And it seemed to me, before we even listened to Brian talk about it, it seemed to me that what you were proposing, that initial proposal, and from what I was researching about holacracy, because I knew nothing about it, it didn't seem like what you were saying and what holacracy was really fitting. And then,
No.
and then when I listened to Brian iterate even more about exactly what it was and talk about some of the problems that he had with other people who thought they were implementing holacracy but really weren't, it solidified even more for me that what Sam's got here is kind of not holacracy.
No. I'll be honest with you. The second draft, the initial jumping point was to create like a CEO, chief technical officer, etc., like you get in a traditional structure, but to bring in this ideologies of a management system of holacracy, where you've got people working effectively under these CEO kind of tiers, but they're a bit able to make daily decisions in their roles. So if the guy is responsible for the website and he wants to change the color of a banner, or he thinks that this input box is better over there, he can make those decisions without going to managers and having endless meetings over specific little details, so that things can move quicker. Well, when we actually had Brian on, during the space, I actually started to amend the structure of it to create a jumping off circle, because that was the point that he made, was that you guys should start from a jumping off circle where you can create your first circle, and then from there hand it over to the people to expand on it and just fill in these roles within the structure, which is where we've gone to now. It's a more of a collection of people who are in lead roles within the circles, which are departments effectively, all of them having access to this executive circle, so that all of their opinion and input has equal weight within this executive circle. So there isn't a one CEO or one chief technical officer who can dictate things. It has to be a consensus between the people, and they're all from different backgrounds. So you've got people from marketing, business development, layer one development, projects, all of them having their own specialist knowledge base that can be essential to day-to-day running or decision-making within the business. Most decisions within a business affects multiple departments. So if you've got all the heads of the departments in one place, then that decision can effectively be made better and quicker in one go.
Okay. Sorry, excuse me. Again, apologize to everybody. I've been sick all day. This is the longest I've sat up in a long time. So I'll be honest with you, I didn't finish reading the whole proposal because I got so far that I said I have to actually talk to Sam about this because I'm still not kind of getting the Holacracy aspect of it, because I'm still seeing what appears to me to be a hierarchical structure, right? But I think what you've done is you've taken those kind of lead roles and put them into one of the circles, and it feels like that's how you're maintaining the Holacracy aspect of it by saying they're in a bubble. But I'm still really not I told Sam, and for everybody that's watching, I'm not really getting this yet, right? I need it to be sold to me a little better, and it's not that I can't say that there's anything wrong with this plan at all. I need to understand it better, and that's why I'm happy to have Sam on to hopefully clarify some things. Sam, this isn't a very long proposal. Do you mind if we read through it and go through it kind of piece by piece a little bit? Okay.
No worries, but I just wanted to tell you one thing about it. So
sure.
The idea is, so for instance, at the moment, we've got, say, Terra Rebels, we've got Terra Civita, and a couple of other development teams that are forming together.
Yeah.
Effectively, you will have a lead role from Terra Rebels, a lead role from Terra Civita. All of these different components that come in to make our blockchain would all have a representative within the circle. And that's how we want to include everyone and help to create a playing field where everyone's voice is heard, everyone's opinion is valued.
Okay. All right. I get it. I get what you're saying. Hey, Max, I see you there. Guys, if you have questions in the chat, feel free to lay them on me and I'll peek over at them. I can see that everybody in the chat can actually see the proposal. And can you see my screen, Sam? Can you see that I have the proposal up?
Yeah, I mean, I've got the proposal up on front of me here on Terra Station.
All right. Sorry. All right. So proposal to create decentralized structure for Terra Luna Classic blockchain. Proposal to create, incorporating the methodology of Holacracy. Now, Sam and I talked, briefly earlier, and he explained to me that this isn't necessarily a 100% Holacracy model. It's more of a hybrid, utilizing, as it says, the Holacracy methodology. But as I was researching Holacracy, I did come across some things that said it was pretty open almost to interpretation and to being changed to fit what you need it to fit. And I think maybe that's what the team, because it's not just you, Sam, right? There's two other guys too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's what the team is kind of doing here. So I guess let's keep that in mind as we go through. So the first step, Sam, if you wouldn't mind reading this, because I don't think I'm going to get through it with this coughing. And then if I have questions, I'll just stop you along the way.
No worries. So the first step, we, the Terra Luna Classic community, propose to create a model of decentralized structure for the Luna Classic blockchain. To do so, community would appoint an interim legal counsel that would also serve as an interim within the executive circle. Holacracy uses circles, a group of people with shared goals, responsibility, or areas of interest within the organization, with the super circle being the community. As a starting point, the community would create the executive circle, EC, who will be tasked with implementing the Terra Classic community's vision and to make sure the organization will be self-sufficient, decentralized, and create policies and procedures with transparency at the heart of all decisions. The EC starting roles will be made of a development lead, a Holacracy coach, a community representative lead, business development lead, and an interim legal counsel. The starting roles within the executive role will be initially defined as. So with Holacracy, the roles are generally defined within a constitution, which gives them boundaries within which they can make decisions without overstepping, so they can have like a negative impact on the business as a whole. So that's why we started off as giving us a slight definition. So the development circle, DC, oversees core L1 development and code implementation on the Terra Luna Classic blockchain, creates and implements a structured roadmap for the upgrades and improvements required to keep the blockchain progressing in a highly competitive market. The lead in the development circle will be charged with organizing, managing, and overseeing works required with other the development circles. Holacracy coach, assist in the adoption of Holacracy and the Holacracy constitution, assist in the creation of Luna Classic internal governance structure, as well as implementation of the Holacracy methodology within the decentralized structure, assist with training of members within the decentralized structure. So we've got a section called Lunatics Community Member, which we just put there as a whim, responsible for representing the community and the super circle, creating information flow to the community on the progress and timelines, responsible for collecting feedback and comments from the community and representing them to the executive circle members, liaise between the community and the EC, accountable for representing tensions, ideally for resolving these ideas for resolving these tensions. So if there's an issue between the community and this executive circle, the liaison is the mediator who is responsible for airing these issues and also coming up with ideas on how to resolve them. We have the business development circle, increased awareness of Luna, create business opportunities for Luna Classic blockchain, seek out utilities and dApps for the Luna Classic blockchain, assist and check for new projects wanting to launch on the Luna Classic blockchain, responsible for dealing with tensions between DC and any projects. So if the project has an issue that is causing a problem with the development circle, the business development circle need to mediate that in order to resolve that tension between new projects who want to come on and the existing development circle codes, etc. If there's any kind of limitations to the code that needs to be changed, etc., all of that needs to be ironed out through the business development circle. Legal counsel will manage and manage the creation of the decentralized structure. With the assistance of the Holacracy coach and the executive circle, build the Holacracy constitution, responsible for contracts required to staff the organization to be self-sufficient, decentralized, and create policies, procedures with transparency at the heart of all decisions.
All right, Sam,
another point.
Go ahead. But let's stop. Go ahead and make your point, but let's stop there for a second. I got a question.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that the legal counsel will do is to negotiate with Terraform Labs for separation of the endpoints, etc., for us to become fully decentralized and independent in effect. They will negotiate for copyrights of the code and data, websites, everything that's connected to Luna Classic. Another thing that the legal counsel will be responsible for, which is in the budgeting section, is actually reaching out to the owners of the multi-sig and giving them the assurances through contracts that the funds will be used for layer 1 development.
Okay. The individuals who hold these positions, how are they selected?
They're selected by the community, but they have to be pretty much background checked for their work history and knowledge base, etc., through a third party, either a legal entity, a law firm, or there are actually third party companies who provide these services for organizations. They do background checks for employees, etc., so that we can be sure that the person who wants to apply for this position has the knowledge base to be able to fulfill it.
Okay. And so all that's done, somebody takes their position and the community is not happy with what's going on. Now, I understand you have this lunatics community member or this liaison.
Yes.
And I'm sorry. And I mean, is it really up to the liaison? So it's up to the liaison to try to smooth things over with the community or whatever. But what if that can't be done? Is there any process by which the community can say, no, we don't want that person in that position anymore. They're not doing what we want them to do or whatever, right? And choosing somebody else?
Well, I mean, the community can actually task the community member, the lead community member, by delivering that message to the executive circle that the community is not happy with the performance and therefore they want a resolution, either some kind of disciplinary or termination of contract, effectively. The proposals sections that governs us at the moment, where through terror stations, etc., is not going to be affected. So the community still has the option to put a proposal to vote to terminate someone if they wanted to, but realistically, all of these people who are employed are working for the community. They are going to be contracted through a legal entity who's going to draw up contracts, but all those contracts, like anywhere else, if there are serious terms of breach of contract or negligence that can be proven, termination can be done quite effectively with anyone.
Okay, so it's kind of left up to the liaison and everyone else as to whether or not this
I mean,
person should be voted out.
the liaison is delivering the message from the community. If the community gets together and the overwhelming feeling is that they don't want this person in that position, then the liaison will have to go to the executive council, make a case for it, provide evidence of why, and the executive council will then have to bring that individual in. Effectively, the way they do it with the holacracy is they give that person an opportunity to evaluate themselves. This is how Brian does it with his organization. After the evaluation, they ask the executive circles, individuals ask themselves, knowing what we know now about this person, would we still employ them? And if the answer is no, then employment is done. If the answer is, well, maybe, they might be given a chance for a 1 month reprieve to go and change their methods, go and speak to the executive circle individuals and convince them that they've actually become a different individual, they're more productive, what they were doing before is no longer an issue. If they can prove that effectively and everyone agrees, then they might be given opportunity to stay. So this is how the structure works. It's not like you have your 1 month notice, thank you very much. It's an inclusive system that allows you as the individual who is in question to make your case, and then everyone has to ask themselves certain questions about whether they would still make this action knowing the information they know today. So after 12 months of working with someone, if someone asks you, would you still hire this person today, knowing what you know today? I think you're in a better position to answer them than you were 12 months ago.
Okay, so if it were me, right, and I'm on the cusp of being fired, right? I've got an opportunity to make my case, and I'm making my case to the legal team, to the development circle. Isn't that a hierarchy?
Not really, no. I mean, if you wanted to create that kind of a platform where there will always have to be individuals. Now, these individuals, like I said, they are what we've put as the roles in the proposal. Like I said, it's our jumping off circle. There will be additional people and departments added to this as the structure gets bigger. There will be additional development circles coming into it where different teams want to help out within the development. So if someone's working within the structure, the chances of them having an effect either directly or indirectly on pretty much all the circles, if they're not pulling their weight, is pretty high. I mean, one individual does make a difference within an organization. So I think it's right to have this opportunity, first of all, to have a platform where you can kind of defend yourself, but also have the variations of the different people there who have different opinions, you know, rather than having two people in front of you who might have an agenda. It's difficult to have a unified agenda when there's 8, 9, 12 people there. In that sense, you get a much more fairer kind of hearing, hence why they've got 12 juries in a courtroom and not two sitting there. You know,
Right.
the increased number gives you a better chance of having a more fair outcome, I suppose.
All right, I hear you. All right, all right, let's go ahead and go on with the rest of this. I think we left off at the LC will also be responsible for.
Yeah, for obtaining the required legal agreements from Terraform Labs, transferring full ownerships of Luna Classic branding, website, intellectual property rights, and code and data to the Luna Classic blockchain to the community. Lunk will continue to operate as a decentralized blockchain, but we need structure to engage with institutions, business, and government. With this, executive circle will act as a representative of the Lunk community. They will be responsible to ensure accurate reporting and communicate all relevant components that require the input of the community, creating and executing a blueprint for business workflow and management projects to completion. Managing projects to completion. Then we go on to Holacracy, which is a method of decentralized management and organizational governance, which distributes authority and decision-making through circles of self-organizing teams rather than traditional management hierarchy. Holacracy has been adopted by organizations in several countries due to the ability of great movement within the organization designed to cope with increasingly complex social environments with a great degree of transparency and for information flow through a clear and concise constitution. The constitution is designed to integrate communication and cooperation between all roles within the structure and the community. It is into its core and create a more transparent, cohesive working structure where everyone is equally valued and all roles are aware of on others' roles, projects, and how it will impact their circle, creating a live information flow between roles, helping to identify problems earlier and work collectively to resolve issues efficiently. All roles within the decentralized structure will adhere to the terms and conditions set out in the Holacratic Constitution, which will be drawn up by a legal entity with the assistance of the EC to comply fully with international law. The Constitution will provide structure for the individuals active within the decentralized governance structure, defining their roles, responsibilities, and boundaries. Go on to the executive role. Individuals within the executive role will be lead roles for their particular circles within the Luna Classic decentralized governance structure and answerable to the whole community at large. These positions would include, but not limited to, roles set out in Section 1, first step, and will be chosen by the community. Then we have independent contractual employment. Although the blockchain will be owned and run by the community through a decentralized structure, some aspects will utilize services through third-party contracts who will be chosen by the community. All contracts will be open to tender process, transparent to the community, and open to scrutiny. All partners must be fully audited to include, but not limited to, background checks to be eligible. Full terms will be set out in the Constitution.
Sam, but so the rest of these, why don't you just give you don't have to read the whole thing. Give a brief synopsis of
So we have the ambassadors who are basically the lead roles within their respective circles.
Yeah.
We have a specialized circle, which is like accounting, lawyers, and security, because they need specialists in their lawyers need to be, you know, the regulated accountants, etc. So that's why we could put them. We go on to budgeting considerations, which takes into account the multi-sig wallet that Alex found with the Ethereum. I think it's Ethereum chain coins in there. So we propose that the decentralized governance provide written assurances and agreements to the signatories of the Ethereum cross-chain multi-sig wallet, so that the wallet's funds will be used for L1 development on the Holacracy blockchain. Now, all these funds will go for pure development for the blockchain. It will be held by a third party, which will the structure can organize either. We've put BitPay because it's a system that's been around for a while. It's well established. But I mean, there are BitWage, sorry, not BitPay, which is a payroll system for cryptocurrency. It can be designed to be released against proof of work, etc., which will work. The second part is we propose to release 1% of the Oracle pool to assist in helping the executive circle to pay for the creation of the decentralized structure, constitution, and the separation from TFL, and also contracted employees.
All right, I had to unmute there. So now you're proposing kind of a different way to go about controlling this multi-sig wallet, or even getting control of this multi-sig wallet, than the current signers have said that they were willing to do. Like, didn't they say like there's one specific way that they'll release it, and like they're not entertaining anything else? Or did I miss something? Is that open for suggestion?
To be honest with you, I've spoken to Alex a few times, because he's the guy who actually found that he's been in touch with them directly, communication. What they want is, they didn't want it in the community pool because they want to know that the control of the funds is there only for layer one. That's the main objective for them, is to be assured that the funds are only going to go for the layer one blockchain, Luna Classic, and not be invested on utilities and dApps and other kind of things. If they have those kind of assurances, from what I've been told, they don't really mind how the money is released. The only other thing that they didn't want was for it to be liquidated in one go, because it would have an effect on the market. 4-point-something million being liquidated in one day. They wanted it basically paid out in stages according to scope of work and contract values, etc. Those are the two major things that was conditional for the money to be released, from my understanding from Alex.
All right. You may have talked to him more recently than I did. I mean, Alex has been on my channel a couple times talking about this, as has Ed, as has Zaradar. Last I was aware, and again, I'll take your word for it if that's changed, but last I was aware, they were only willing to release it to another set of signees, and they didn't care how many there were, as long as that's what it was being released to, and they kind of weren't open to any interpretation on that. So if that has changed, then that leads me to believe that there has been further conversation between them and Alex, which, is no big deal. I wasn't aware of it, so I'll take your word on that.
I mean, their main concern was transparency and, like I said, control over the funds, so that they can't be spent on anything else apart from L1. That was one of the main reasons they were insisting on a multi-sig rather than actually putting into the community pool, because that's I think at the first it was asked if they would put it into the community pool, and it was a flat no. And the reason for that was because they wanted assurances on how the money was going to be spent, and they would lose that if it was in the community pool.
Yeah, there are some guys out there in the community who are still pushing to get all that money into the community pool, right?
I understand, but one thing I have to understand is we can have 1,000 proposals for this. The decision on how the money goes or where it goes is within those 6 people who have that multi-sig. The wallet is not on chain. It doesn't hold any LUNC or USDC. It's not even our assets. It's Ethereum-based assets. So
yep.
Unless they're happy with it, and that's why, again, we've left that in charge with a lawyer or legal entity to deal with it, because they will want assurances. They will want to have some kind of a contract agreement to structure these assurances, and we want to be able to provide them that.
Okay. All right. Why don't you go ahead and read the conclusion, and then I have a couple other questions for you. Oh, before you do that, Richard says, I don't see anything bad in this proposal. Who screened the validators that we have now? I guess he's referring to the validators who have either abstained or voted no. Last I checked, there was only one validator, and that was Unity, that has voted yes on this, but there are a lot of validators out still to vote. So.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I know Vegas voted no for it. I know Classy abstained. He actually came to the community Discord and said that, you know, I'm going to abstain in order to help you guys. And I do appreciate it. You know, if he doesn't want to be in a position to support it, then actually abstaining it will help us maybe get to quorum on it. I mean, the issue is, at the moment, the way I see it is we've got multiple groups constantly infighting, trying to bash the other one down so that they become more attractive to the community, constantly calling each other out for stealing this one's idea or stealing that one's idea. And we wanted to get rid of all of that. We wanted to unify everyone in one direction, give them one direction only, and stop all this infighting between the groups to see who's the superior. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're all working for the blockchain, superiority doesn't come into it. There's one common goal, and you should all be happy to work with each other. This competition means that they're not all working for the best of the blockchain. They have individual or group agendas that they want to achieve. And that, for me, is a dangerous situation for the community to be stuck in long term.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I'll tell you, everyone that I've had on the channel recently has basically expressed similar feelings about the infighting and the mudslinging. And it's funny because everybody condemns it, yet it's still going on.
Yeah,
and I've commented.
I think we need it, to be honest with you. I think people like they've gotten used to it a little bit. If we calm the community down, then a proposal drops that rattles everyone. You know, there's always something. It's like you walking around waiting for an IED sometimes. You know.
Yeah, I hear you. It just bothers me that I can tell you that some of the people that I've talked to that have told me, and I'm not, you know, this is the first time you and I have actually talked like this, so I'm not referring to you. But some of the people that I've talked to that have expressed, oh, we got to stop this, we got to stop that. And then at some point I get a DM, oh, don't listen to that one, or don't follow that one, don't get involved with that one because they're this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, didn't you just tell me that we needed to stop this stuff, you know? So I don't know what the solution is, and I don't really want to harp on it. All right, you want to go ahead and read that conclusion real quick?
Sure. So it's our belief that implementing a structure to the Luna Classic blockchain would increase transparency and information flow, create a united path forward for all teams working towards one goal. With a decentralized structure, the blockchain can be more attractive for larger investors and projects looking to join. We believe that this would result in a net gain for the community and the blockchain. We would look to show the community the value brought by the structure through two factors: price stability and increase, as well as burn volume increase. By taking a snapshot of the market cap when the structure is created and implemented and started being implemented, and review the value after 12 months, with an increase showing a net gain and a reduction net loss over that period. We would also look at a daily burn volume burn volume over the same period, with a view that increased volume on chain would increase burn volume through the tax at remaining the same rate.
Okay. Guys in the chat, whoever's in the chat right now, as I said before, this was very spontaneous. I was like, oh, by the way, I'm going live in a few minutes. So I didn't expect a lot of people to be in here, but what you can do to help get a few more people to see it live, because I know that a lot of people are going to end up seeing this later on, which is fine. But to get some more people in here live, make sure you hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, and I bet you everybody that's in here is already subscribed, but if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel and share it. Let everybody on Twitter and everywhere else know that we're doing this. All right, Max. Something you said earlier perked my ear up. You is it going to be one of the focuses of this system to get away from TFL?
No,
Okay.
no, actually, we were initially discussing offering Tobias the development lead role, but that's based on if the proposal passes. To be honest with you, this is something that we've had a lot of conversation about, and in fact with a lot of like Terra Rebels members on the Discord, and I've explained to them that this is trying to break down barriers so that everyone who wants to be involved, a team in Japan who has the knowledge base and the coding experience can be involved, a team in Timbuktu can be involved. There is no barrier in that sense. All we're doing is we're creating a central source of information for people. At the moment, projects are going to Terra Rebels to get information with regard to onboarding and GitHub requests and information. They don't have that. They're going to Terra Civita. They don't have all of it. There's bits missing. Someone needs to take responsibility. If we're going to move forward with a multi-billion-dollar blockchain and actually build this up to become a several $100 billion blockchain in the next bull run, we need to actually formulate ourselves like a serious business, have all this information available, have options for onboarding. If Terra Civita want to do it and 2 other groups want to do it, fantastic. We will have access to them. Any project comes to us or the organization and says, we're looking to join and launch this project. We'll look at it. We'll say, oh, Terra Civita actually, they're much more experienced in the casino side of things. They've done a few already. You guys are gambling. You might be a better suit for them. Oh, Terra Rebels have done like financial things and dexes and stuff like that. You guys want to be in the financial sector with protocols. You're better off with that. Oh, these guys are actually better with onboarding games and helping you guys with games. You might be better off with that. And that kind of information actually legitimizes the blockchain, gives projects a really good feeling about being part of it when they can get that information quickly, effectively. And if they can't, there's someone accountable. They say, we reached out to this person and they didn't give us the information. Why is that? At the moment, we don't have that.
TCV, Terra Civita, set out to be basically what you're describing. They wanted to be, Rexy wanted, his idea, and we talked about it extensively, was to be a central hub for everything Terra Classic, right? Everything LUNC. And his idea, his vision was bringing everyone together kind of under one roof and collaborating with each other. However, they haven't seemed to even be able to get along with their former peers in the Terra Rebels. There's quite a bit of animosity. There's quite a bit of mudslinging. You think that this proposal could bridge the gap and bring, them, not only them, there's a bunch of different, I mean, that's just 2 of them. We got different factions all over the place. You think that this proposal could bring them all together somehow?
I hope so. That's why one of the reasons that we wanted to do it is to unify everyone and to bring them on one page effectively. Once people are over this whole competing with each other, there's no reason they can't work together. There's plenty of work to be done. And at the moment, we are savagely short on layer 1 developers within Terra Rebels, I would say. And with this structure, we could have multiple teams helping out, say, Tobias within the next couple of weeks to get him the assistance that he needs. It's not, I mean, I don't want to be like, but from my information, he's one of the only people that's working 99% of his time is spent on layer 1. And it's not fair to put that on one person's shoulder when there's other people already within the community with the knowledge base and experience that can jump on and help him out.
I think he loves it, to be honest. I mean, all he wants to do is take care of his teenager and code. Anything else is
Yeah, I mean,
distraction.
we were initially, I mean, Jerry spoke to Edward to be the development lead, but I think Ed is more interested in actually pursuing his grants program, and didn't really want to be taking on that kind of responsibility. He wants to be more kind of hands-on, day-to-day basis, dealing with projects and stuff like that. So that's why we thought maybe Tobias. But like I said, it's up to the community and the structure to put the names forward and to fill these positions. We just write the proposal. I don't want to be part of the structure. I've already put my hat out of the ring, and so are the other two authors, because we don't want to create a conflict of interest. This is something that we put together as we thought it will benefit the blockchain and the community. Our involvement ends if it passes. It will be handed over to the legal counsel to start filling the positions, and the community has to come together in order to nominate people that they want in there.
All right. Beef in the chat. His name is Beef. Beef. Nice to meet you. I've never seen you in my chat before. He says this proposal sounds like a decent way forward. So you definitely have people out there who are appreciating this. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. I have a couple.
You know what? I appreciate you taking the time when you're feeling like this to come and actually do this for the community.
I'm gonna go pass out when I'm done. I've got a couple of kind of main questions, and I'm like, as you're talking, I'm kind of tossing in my head which way to go first, but I think I'm going to go this way first. So because we're already talking about all the different factions and how they're having a hard time kind of dealing with each other. Sorry, give me one second.
No.
Need a lozenge. Anyway, how they're having a tough time dealing with each other and getting along. And then it's not even a matter of just, we think it should be done this way, but we think it should be done that way. It's, we think it should be done this way, and you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Because you think it should be another way. I mean, it's really gone down a spiral that's kind of not healthy, right? So when I look at what's going on with everybody right now who are already, for all intents and purposes, in their own little holacracy circles, right? And not getting along, it makes me think, okay, so if we move to this holacracy proposal, if we move to this methodology, we're not getting along now. How is everybody in these individual circles going to get along just because you put a title of holacracy over it? Aren't they still going to fight in? I would feel bad for whoever this person is that kind of is responsible for making them all get along, because I'm a hell of a guy, I think, and I haven't been able to do it. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I see most of the reasons for the fighting at the moment is that if you look at all the individuals who are fighting, they all used to belong to one group.
Yep.
And over time, things have happened within that group that's fractioned them. So Alex was a main component within that group. He's written 2 great proposals, whether you agree with them or not. He's taken a huge amount of time and effort and written 2 great proposals, and then got kicked out as a thank you for that one. Max Rexy is, again, someone who was in Terror Rebels. They separated, came out, I think a month and a half ago or something, and asked Ed and a few others to join him to create Terra Civita. So this is when you have that kind of situation where you have this big group and they fractionalize, the infighting is inevitable, I think. But I think over time, if you can sit them down and find some common ground and get them working together, that's how you might be able to resolve all this and actually create a bit of peace between them. If you leave it as it is, I can't see how it's going to get any better, because it's like you say, today this one's swinging mud, tomorrow everyone is sitting around trying to find an angle that they can use to put the other person down. And that's not a healthy way. There's a lot of time being wasted that could be used much more productively.
I'm getting I'm getting home remedies in the chat here. Somebody's telling me to drink olive oil. So Max, here's what, and I think you're onto it, right? Because here's what I found. Yes, they were all terror rebels at one point. Now, before governance was established, that was the goal, right? So the whole organization, Terror Rebels, and all these guys, they had one specific goal, and that was to establish governance, to get that running, bring validators on so that we could delegate. And the first thing that was going to come up for vote was the 1.2% burn tax. Now, even though they were on, they were on all sides of that, right? Some people thought, yeah, why not? Great idea, Vegas. And, obviously it was his proposal, right? But, the Zaradars of the group were like, that's not going to do anything. It'll take 100 years for that to do anything at all, right? Even though that was the case and they had their differences of opinion, they still had a centralized goal. They had something that they all had to work to achieve. And they did it masterfully, right? Once that was achieved and they did not have something to all center their focus on, a central goal to accomplish, and they were free to kind of give their ideas on the way forward, all hell broke loose, right? And everybody kind of went into, all these different areas, right? So whether it's this or whatever it is, I have long said that I get the thing about decentralization. I get it, right? I know that that's what cryptocurrency is supposed to be. And people are very, very diehard on it. And if you talk about anything that even looks centralized, they don't want to hear it. Okay, I get that. But people are gonna criticize me for it. People are gonna say that I'm wrong. I don't see where a 100% decentralized system is going to get us anywhere, because if that's what we have right now, this is what we get: factions and people arguing and fighting. You need some sort of centralized organization that says this is the path forward and let's all work toward that goal. Okay, so again, whether that's this proposal or another proposal, I think that's what we need.
We need the structure. If it doesn't have to be centralized or decentralized, we just need a structure that says the community is in effect wanting X, Y, Z, which is they want to reduce the total supply effectively. This is one thing that we all have in common. We want to increase the value of Lunk over time. It's our goal that everyone in the community has. We want to increase utilities and applications in order to increase use cases on a daily basis. And all of that will have a knock-on effect on decreasing the overall supply through the burn tax. So all of these things are common goals that everyone within the community has. If we want to be part of DeFi, we have to bring down the volume. We have to think about the long term of it. If we want a stable coin, all of these things are something that we can all unify on. And like you say, once we have a unified goal, everyone will know how to basically assist in that, how their skills can help us all get to where we want to go, rather than, no, I want to do it like this. No, I want to do it like that. No, I think this takes priority. But when you have a structure that actually sets out the goals, then everyone has to basically go with that flow, in my opinion, which would stop a lot of people infighting and trying to, minimize someone else's opinion on something and, make themselves more louder in order to get their point across. These kind of things are a complete waste of time if you're running these kind of organizations. it's fine if you want to set up some startup and have fun with it. But we inherited a multi-billion-dollar chain, unfortunately, in one of the worst crashes in crypto. And before this, we had TFL, which had direction, had structure. It wasn't decentralized. TFL was governed by Do Kwon. It was run by Do Kwon.
Right.
He was effectively the CEO. And after the crash, we've ended up with no structure, no real leadership, no real direction. Ideas, fantastic ideas, a lot of people, a lot of really amazing people in the community taking action, fantastic. But I think we need to unify now in order to be taken seriously. We are sitting in the community and we're all proud of Lunk, but I speak to people from outside the community, and the perception of the organization is mishmash, haphazard, are the words that I get told. The one thing that big investors that I've spoken to have said is we won't even look at it until like there's an actual organization that we can go and check out who these guys are, see what their backgrounds are. I had someone ask me, like, you know, what's the work history for Vegas? What's he been involved with before? I have got no idea. I know that he was in brewing and stuff, but I don't know what he's done in crypto. I don't know what Zardar's done in crypto or any of the other guys have done in crypto for me to be able to tell a serious investor, oh yeah, they're involved in this project, that project, you know. That's what gives confidence to investors in this community. There's not much else apart from previous track record that people have to go on when it comes to crypto, you know.
Yeah. You had mentioned Alex's proposal or proposals.
Yeah.
And you know, Alex himself is a very I don't know, he's the kind of guy who you either love him or hate him. And I've had
I think he's trying hard to do something positive, but
I mean, I do too, to be honest with you.
shooting himself in the foot a little
I've caught
bit.
hell for saying that, but I do too. I really have nothing against Alex. And I know, you know, and I read some of the things, this isn't where I'm going, but this is just a little side note. I read some of the things that Alex says on Twitter, and I'm like, dude, you probably could have said that a different way. I mean, you know, there's, you know, I understand why everybody is, you know, like, he's, you know, abrasive.
I replied to him 2 days ago with one sentence: "You just love headaches, don't you, Alex?" And he replied back with a smiley face, and he loved it. So he likes it, but
at this
the things
point,
that have happened to him are out of order, in my opinion. You know, going after his place of work, trying to spread pictures of his family and like find out where he lives. I mean, these things are ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that's over the line, just over the line, right? But yeah, I believe he's absolutely feeding into it now. He's kind of taking on this villain role and having fun with it, right? But that's neither here nor there. That's not actually where I was going with it, right? So his proposal came out, and you know, it included that he wanted to mint, he wanted to do all this stuff to try to help USTC, and everybody was like, no. Okay, all right. So he listened to the community, took the minting part out of it, left the aid for USTC to possibly be in another proposal down the road, took that out of it because the community didn't want it. The community still had a problem because he was appointing a bunch of people to these things. They said, well, you know, even though we like some of these guys we don't know, so appointing them, that doesn't give the control to us. All right, so things change here and there. Ed, who was originally on Alex's proposal, kind of came up with his own proposal, which was very much like Alex's, but it was a little softer, a little more tender, and it was a little more community friendly, right? And suggested that these positions would be voted on by the community, right? And so Ed's last, and ultimately Ed, I think, abandoned that and didn't want anything to do with it because through a long conversation that he and I had actually live, I don't know if you saw it, he kind of started realizing, I think, and he probably started realizing it before this, I'm not trying to take credit. He started realizing that Alex didn't want one of those positions as one of the signers. And Ed was feeling like he didn't necessarily want one of those positions either, because it could potentially be a lot of legal liability, all that kind of stuff. So I think he kind of abandoned it. But
It was something actually Dima Monkey and I brought up to I think it was Alex in a space and also Vegas in a space with regard to this multi-sig when they were fighting about where the money should go.
Yeah.
And we said, realistically, this money needs to have a full audit on it in order to know that it's not a tainted. Therefore, anyone who takes ownership, possession of this funds is taking on the liability. You're not leaving that liability with the other 6 multi-sigs. The moment that comes into a wallet and you're part of it, the liability is yours. And that's what made them go and seek legal advice. I think it was Lungdao, Bruce, who contacted his solicitor. He was one of the first ones to say, I don't want to be involved in it, because he said, and this is based on general legal advice, not specific to this wallet, again, because no one's done the research on it yet. But they were like, from the story that Coach Bruce has told his lawyers, they said, we don't advise you to be involved with this because there could be serious legal implications. Right. Now, that's why we want someone to run kind of an audit on this, to check the background of it, check the source of funds, and effectively make sure that it's not tainted funds, because the last thing we need within this blockchain is an investigation because we brought tainted funds over, which is something that no one wants within this community.
Right. Yeah. Coach wasn't the only one whose lawyer told him that. I mean, all of those guys who sought any kind of legal advice were told stay away from it. Right. So, yeah. So that leads me, I guess, kind of to this question. The legal the legal people who would check on that stuff, and also who would do everything else within your proposal, the people who take these positions, whether they are elected or whatever, how's everybody getting paid?
So the legal structure, etc., is 1% from the Oracle pool, which is going to be released to do that. The L1 and the development circle will be funded if the money is clean from the multisig.
Okay. Is that all part of, so this was a text proposal, right? This 11002 is a text.
Yes, it's a text proposal.
So
there will be a code proposal for the 1% if it does pass, just to implement the code for it, for the Oracle pool.
Right, because all that stuff didn't seem to be really spelled out in this text proposal. So
no, the code for pulling the 1%, it wasn't in the text proposal, no. Right.
Or the everybody being paid from that multi-sig wasn't really in there either.
No, the multi-sig, it was the multi-sig is for layer 1, so it's for the development circle who's working on the layer 1 blockchain, the core code of Luna Classic. Okay. So all the upgrades, all these kind of things, that's what the multi-sig is for.
What if that money's tainted and you can't get a hold of it or whatever else? How do you fund it then?
Well, it's the same issue we're having at the moment with regard to funding for the upgrades, etc. We are actually, at the moment, Unity and a couple of other guys have put in developers, which the fees, part of it, I mean, ours is 75% of it goes towards funding developments. If it needs be, we will pool that with other validators in order to help out. But effectively, the core chain is the responsibility of the owners. And as the community is the owners of this chain, there has to be some kind of responsibility to make these upgrades that are desperately necessary for us to make progress.
Okay. I pulled up the proposal, and we are currently at almost 21% yes, 23% abstained, 51.75 no, and 4% basically no with veto. We still only have Unity as far as the validators who have said yes. I don't think any validators have weighed in since the last time that I looked at this. All these numbers seem to be the same. Have you
Yeah, yeah.
spoken? Have you spoken to any of these other guys, All Nodes, Interstellar, Orion? And do you have any idea where they stand?
I haven't. I think Jerry and Luke Ben Army.
Oh, you just muted yourself.
And
There you go.
basically the top 20, top 25 validators.
Sam, I don't know. I don't know if you realize it, but you were muted for like about 5 or 6 seconds. So if I could
Oh,
ask
sorry,
you to say that
I had an
again.
incoming call. I just hung up on them. Yeah, I mean, Luke Burnham and Jerry are putting together some kind of an outreach for the top 20 or 25 validators in order to get their feedback and just to have a conversation, open a conversation with them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, because we just, it's just over 24 hours. Like, we're in the second day, right, of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I did it in a way. I deposited the proposal with 10%, and the rest of the community topped it up for it to get to the vote, and that only took 24 hours as well to get to 1 million. So thank you for them, whoever put some deposit in there. Thank you so much.
All right. If you could sum up for me in one kind of closing statement or closing argument, with all of the proposals, give me a second. Show all. I mean, all the different proposals here on Terra Station and all the different proposals that are going on over in Agora. If you could sum up for me, why is this proposal of yours definitely the way forward? Why can we trust that? Well, let me before I get to that, let me ask you this. I think that maybe in the last Twitter space that you did or something was said about some kind of big companies who use Holacracy as a model.
Yeah, Apple uses it in their R&D department. They implement Holacracy. Mercedes-Benz actually does it in their R&D and another department.
Medium uses Holacracy, right?
Medium actually used some kind of pseudo Holacracy that didn't work out for them. But there's a massive company in America. I can't remember their name, but they actually do full Holacracy across. What was that name?
I've got a whole huge list here of organizations currently using Holacracy. I mean, I don't know if you see it. I don't necessarily have to go through every one of these, but I had gone through a couple of them. Just clicked on the links to see who they were because I really didn't recognize not even one of these names, except for when I got down to the bottom and I came to Medium.
No, Zappos. That's the company. Zappos uses Holacracy. Apple uses it in part of, like I said, the research development is run that way. Mercedes-Benz uses it, as far as I know. There's the thing with Holacracy is that this is the conversation again that changed our mind to actually do it now rather than later. Is if you start the organization and create it from the start this way, it's actually very easy to implement it. But for an existing company that has been trading for hundreds of years, they have to start implementing it section by section because to restructure the whole company in one go, someone like Mercedes-Benz or Apple, it's just be, it could be a complete disaster for them effectively for the day-to-day business.
I understand. But with all of the companies that we looked at, or that I looked at and that you've mentioned, has this ever been attempted in a cryptocurrency situation?
No, but the guys at holacracy.org are in the process of creating 2 DAOs for cryptocurrency. The author Brian, he is a big player in the cryptocurrency market since about 2012-13. He spoke about it, and about 50% of the partners in holacracy.org are all crypto guys. They're invested within the market. They trade on a regular basis. So our conversation with him with regard to crypto was actually one of the first things we asked them, and they said, "Yep, it's very much doable." In fact, we're assisting 2 companies. One of the other companies that they assist is MakerDAO, which are actually starting to implement some kind of pseudo holacracy, and it was their lawyer who reached out to holacracy.org in order to bring them from a DAO and move them over to this kind of like holacracy. So MakerDAO has these things called pods rather than circles, and they're kind of implementing it on a fringe kind of basis at the moment. So it's getting picked up within the crypto sector. Definitely getting picked up.
All right. So to get back to where I was originally going, if you could sum up why you think that this proposal of yours and this model is absolutely the way forward for LUNC and will work better than anything else that's currently being proposed, how would you sum that up? What would you tell us?
I would say that from an investor point of view, we need a structure, we need clear direction, and we need clear leadership. And that's what the proposal is there to give us. It's been structured so that power is not given to one person or two or three people, but rather it's a shared collective of people who all have a role to play within the organization. I think that it gives us a good chance of progressing this blockchain to where it needs to be with regard to business development, attracting utilities and projects, getting upgrades done, getting more people involved from different organizations and groups and working together. I think that's what this structure and this proposal brings to the table. And I think it's something that we felt that's missing from the blockchain as a multi-billion-dollar organization at the end of the day.
All right. I can tell you that I have learned a lot through this conversation. I've come to understand the model here and the intention a lot better than I did before we chatted. So I thank you for that. I appreciate that. I can also tell you that there are two things for me personally, and this is not, I fully believe that everybody should make up their own mind, and I also understand that everybody has a different perspective. For me personally, the only two things that give me pause about this proposal, one is something I already mentioned, all the factions and fracturing that's currently going on, and we have not been able to find a way to bridge all of these different ideas and all of these different proposals and directions together and focus everyone into one direction. And I'm not sure that you really have answered how exactly you're going to do that with, I know that you said you hope that it does that, and we all hope that it does that, but I don't feel like you've really answered how exactly you're going to do that. The second thing for me is that this has never been tried before in a cryptocurrency setting. It's been tried with a bunch of smaller companies, companies that I've looked at, and even with the bigger companies, they're implementing it in slowly, as you said. They're putting it, using it here and using it there, seeing how it works out. For some people, it hasn't worked out. So it would very much be an experiment. And I'm personally not comfortable yet experimenting with this chain and trying something that's never been tried before. Those are my two hiccups with this. Other than that, I think the intention is spot on with exactly what I believe should happen. I don't know if you want to address those two things now in some way, or I can tell you that I'm just going to be listening carefully over the next few days until this thing is pretty close to, the end of being voted on, probably before I make my decision, and see if maybe something comes up that answers those two things for me in a more positive way.
So the first one, at the end of the day, everyone has a decision to make when it comes to these factions, if they want to be involved in a positive way, or they want to have a negative impact and therefore not be involved within the Luna Classic blockchain. those decisions are above childish feuds. It's about the future of Terra Rebels and the future of Terra Civita and their ability to remain relevant in a way. And if they want to be relevant, they have to have a positive impact and they have to find a way to work together. If they don't or they can't, then maybe we have to look at how their involvement is going to impact the whole blockchain as a whole. Because having these kind of feuds carrying on into 2023 and 2024, it's not going to bring anyone new as an investor unless we see ridiculous 0006 kind of figures again, where people go, oh my God, this is so cheap, I just have to buy into it. We're wanting to attract more and more people from other communities, from other blockchains to come and invest in us. And unless we can actually show them a good reason, they won't. So I think people who are grown up, once they're sat at the table and they're given a choice that, listen, you need to work out through your differences and work together to create a positive. If you can't, then we have to question your involvement as a whole. Then people should take that very seriously and think about what they want to achieve. If you're preaching you're here for the blockchain, then be here for the blockchain. Don't let your personal agendas and stuff get in the way of you actually achieving something, because we are trying to achieve something amazing here. We're taking something that was pretty much pulseless and brought it back slowly, giving it staking back, giving it governance back, trying to bring life back into it. The holacracy side of things, like I said, I mean, the management of the structure would be under the holacracy side of things. Your choice is either to go for a DAO, which is kind of what we have at the moment with the governance structure that Terra Classic has when it comes to you stake your coins, you put a proposal up, you vote for the proposal, it's fully decentralized in that sense. And that's pretty much what a DAO would bring to the table. The structure we want to create is a little bit more of that, where it's a decentralized structure that's taking care of a business, because the blockchain is a business. We need to run it as a business. I mean, if you look at the ones that are successful, like the Ethereums and the Solanas and the Polkadots and stuff, they all have a structure. They all have a serious structure. In fact, I mean, it's not a wishy-washy, or maybe, we'll try this here, we'll try that there. A lot of them actually have your traditional CEO kind of hierarchy structure within the blockchain, and no one's screaming, oh my God, this is centralized. They're still paying $100 and something for the coins in that sense, because they believe in the team. I know projects that are launching now who are completely closed source. If you want to launch on their layer one, you have to go and get their permission. There's no way you'll be able to, but they're still in cryptocurrency. There's still a token. They're still within this decentralized utopia that people are striving for. So there's a lot of different structures. There's a lot of different way of doing things. We just thought about bringing this because looking at holacracy, it's a way of empowering people and making the working place a little bit more of an inclusive environment. That's why we chose it, to be honest with you. It's something that we think would actually have a positive effect on the people that are within the structure. And that's the only people who are going to get affected by this holacracy, the people who are working within the structure.
Okay. And to the second point, did you want to talk about that, or?
The second point, what it's a new idea, it's radical in that sense.
Kind of an experiment. I mean, if LUNC, if Terra Classic is the first to try this model, it's making it a bit of a guinea pig. I
mean, the reason Terra Classic is the first to actually fully try to implement this. Like I said, there's a couple of other DAOs out there who are trying, but they've been existing. Like MakerDAO has been around, I think, since 2012 or 13. So they've got about 9 or 10 years of trading under their belt. When a company is existing, for them to just switch over, it's a massive task for them. The reason that we're starting this from scratch, the whole structure is a new concept that's being organized and created. So it gave us a perfect opportunity to implement this into it from the very start, rather than if it was an existing company, say Luna had never crashed and TFL wanted to implement Holacracy all of a sudden, for them, they would have to restructure the organization in order to accommodate some changes. Do Kwon would effectively not be like a CEO figure anymore. He would be one of the leaders, but he wouldn't be the only person who's in charge of it in that sense. Do you understand? So for us, it's an opportunity to create something very, very new, because we're creating a brand new structure anyway, in that sense. To change the management structure of it, if it doesn't work out, I can't see that being a massive thing. Going back to your normal hierarchy is not an ideal situation at the end of the day. But if in 12 months the community wants that and they see that as a more of a traditional standard management structure, then the structure that's been created, the decentralized structure that's been created to look after Lunk, doesn't have to change. It's the internal structure, how they manage the people within that has to change.
So you think that if this were to be implemented, 12 months is a good amount of time to kind of gauge efficacy?
I think 12 months would give you enough time to see the clear indications are there or not.
Okay. All right.
I think that's enough time to pass in order for everything to settle down, people get into their roles, the structure can be established, and then 6 months running of it, once it is, people should be able to see already through changes, like we said, if we see a better price increase, more stability in the price, if we see more on-chain volume because people have more confidence or more projects are coming on to build as a result of it, then it's working.
Okay, I got you. Ahmed Sasi in the in the chat says, "Can you summarize, please?" No. Stop being lazy. Go back and watch the thing from the beginning. Summarize. Crazy. All
He's
right.
coughing his lungs out. He's sitting here talking to you guys, trying to educate.
You want me to keep going? You nuts? All right, Max, thank you so much for coming on and really taking your time to explain this, not only to me, but to everyone, putting up with my coughing.
So thank you very much. I appreciate you've taken the time from weeks ago to get into this and try to get a grasp of it. And I really do appreciate the time and effort that you put into it as well, and the education you've given to people. Thank you so much. And thank you for everything you do for the community, man. I do keep up with the things that you're involved in. And there's a lot of very good information, education there for people to get as a resource out of.
I have guys like you to thank for that, because honestly, and I've said this a million times, I'm learning as I go. And because I want to have the accurate information given out to the community, I want to get the guys on who actually are doing this stuff to get all the right answers, and people like yourself and a lot of the Terror Rebels and the Lunatics guys, you've been so gracious with coming on, my channel, and not only doing this for me, but doing it for the community. And it shows a lot when you want to come on and really talk to everybody, take their questions, but let them know firsthand where it is that you're coming from. So I appreciate you. Everyone else appreciates you. I'm going to go lay down now.
Get well soon, sir. Get well soon. And if we manage to get Brian on a space, I'll definitely let you know. And
Yeah.
I did try to invite you up last time because I kind of thought that you might have a few questions, but I think you just wanted to sit there and listen. But this time we'll definitely bring you up. You can get some questions in.
I was probably at work, Max. Every time you guys have these Twitter Spaces. I'm either in a truck or I'm in an excavator. You know what I mean? I can't really. So yeah, that's probably what it was. Otherwise, I'm sure I probably would have had some questions, but next time for sure. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone that's in the chat. If you haven't already, please hit the like button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. I try to do this stuff as much as I can. Have these key guys on here to talk to you guys. So subscribe, and I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody, and I'll see you later. Ciao.
Get well soon, sir. Have a good one.
Right.